We do not own the rights to anything or any music that's heard during the duration of this podcast. Also, a lot of these shows will have explicit content. So if you are not a fan of any cursing or profanity, you may want to walk away, but that does not mean that every show will consist of such.
Another year has completed, meaning that a new season begins when a new year begins. Welcome to season 9. I know we've been back and forth on what we'll be talking about, but I will be real with you. Sports, music, tech, productivity. You will likely get a lot of guests or appearances. Hey, you might even hear me get questioned about some things. But I want you all to tune in because there's definitely a lot to talk about. And this journey has been heavy to say the least. Welcome to a new season of The Past with your host, BT.
And now, our feature presentation.
What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday.
That usual day and time when I decide to be some crazy person and go walking. And I will be the first to come clean and saying that my effort of movement has been as relaxed and as comfortable as I like it to be. However, I also know I need to get my behind up and get moving because it helps. It's no longer milk doing the body good. It's walking doing the body good. So we are up and at it. Today is a different flow because it's one of the first times in a while that I'm using a bit of an added accessory while walking. I'm putting these in, but I may not even need them. But a couple weeks ago, probably not long after Christmas, I decided to get some hand warmers. And I don't know about anybody else, but these things are clutch. Um, if I remember correctly, for I know Saturday they was right on time, just on the simple fact that you can literally have them in your hand. Because Saturday was weird. Let's just say I went out and walked, and somehow when I started walking, before I went out and do the walk, I didn't have them in. Well, I had them with me, but I didn't have any gloves to wear. So what's good, y'all? We are teetering, if not exceeding, the 2% mark of 2025. And at least from our city's perspective, we're having a battle with water. And talk about how deep and intense that can become. It's it's definitely, if nothing else, eye opening. Um, People's reaction to being without it. For some of us, it's okay. Like hearing and embracing the layers, levels, and forms of adversity involved with not having proper water tells you everything without telling you anything. But the one upside or perk to today is we are kind of getting the year, in my opinion, off to a good start. And I say it that way because for once in a while, in quite a while, I'm actually more consistent with planning. So for those of you who are relatively new or have been around for a while, um, Team Bujo is in full effect. Uh, I've been talking to a close friend of mine to get some tough love, but well deserved love as far as coming up with a methodology or a dialect involving sharing and addressing the scope and the world of planning. And I've been given my orders and I got work to do. So I can tell that I've been idle for a few days because this is probably one of the first days in a while that I have like not necessarily back pain, but my standing straight. But this is the simplest way to describe it. Normally, whenever I walk or stand or whatever, I feel like a exclamation point where I'm pretty straight, all good. This morning, 100% no lie. I legit feel like I'm, I'm teetering into a bracket or a question mark because it's just not a lot of movement. But that comes with breaking the habits or altering the systems. And for whatever reason, 2025 has put one thing in front of me to really hone in on. And that has become, well, two things. One has become being more aware of working on the system and not the goals. And secondly, whether we think we do or not, we have everything we need. We are very well equipped as individuals to get whatever it is that we need to get done. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that if you turn your feet and do a plie and stand up, you'll everything's gonna just fall in your lap. Yes, there will be work required. There will be effort necessary. All of those things. However, the end goal is very noticeable and very reachable if you are wanting to accomplish that thing. And for a lot of people, I don't think they're as aware of how accomplishable or achievable it is, but it's right there, um, or attainable. I'm here to be the bearer of real news and say that it's time for us to literally wake up because for a lot of people, whether this is openly being said or was looking to see if I was gonna do my track. I think it's. Let me see if this is. This is sheets of ice. I'm not even taking a chance. Y'all getting one of these type of walks today? I think I'm walking. I think we city walking today. Yeah, I'm not doing it. I saw it. I foresaw it. Don't know why. Um, but for a lot of people, and there's mixed feelings this year. And I'm gonna have this hard conversation with a lot of people. 2025, like every year, is gonna bring about change. We, in our own right, should be prepared and aware that change is, change is gonna happen. The end. The difficulty and or dilemma is that it's not about whether the change is coming. The question becomes, how are you handling the change that's coming? Are you running? Are you afraid of the better version of you that could come from this change? There are a lot of reflective based questions that will be talked about, thought about, considered, and acknowledged at the early stage of this year. Um, and everyone, whether everyone says this openly or not, everyone's appetite for what they're trying to do ain't the same. And I know for some people that's gonna be like, I mean, duh. But for a lot of people, it's a reality when you really are forced to look at the folks who are, I don't even want to say beside you, but that know you well enough. Okay. I'm looking to see where they're like potential slick spot. Um, you will be people this year, whether they want to do it or not, are gonna be put in positions to really have to see the people around them who are working on things, who are doing things, who are going through things, how they're navigating what they're navigating. And some challenges are gonna show up. And this is not me foreshadowing, forecasting, prophesying, none of those things. It's just we are in a state where if we're not doing it now, we're gonna like life is gonna make us do it. And for some reason, I personally thought my change had hit when I got into tech, but it was the opposite. My change hit when COVID hit. When COVID hit, COVID made me see a lot of things in ways that I didn't want to see it, but I needed to see it. Case in point, um, I literally is as appreciative as I've been of it, I couldn't put myself in a position to party with healthcare but so much longer in its peak. And those who know, I don't think I've ever mentioned my location of work, and I'm not going to on this walkcast. But what I will say is, and a friend of mine said this to me uh, yesterday. She felt as though 2020 we're getting a possible repeat of 2020 this year, and I didn't. didn't really disagree with her, but I also wanted her to look at it as, I don't know about anybody else, but I hope that if we are seeing a repeat of the madness and the chaos that ensued, that we learned from what happened then and not make the same mistakes. For example, and this is the first thing that just popped up as I'm walking and talking about it, and I'm going to hold it around today, but sometimes you got to follow it where your mind and your heart leads you. Um, for example, if PPP loans are pushed again, we have to know how to handle that PPP loan. I don't think
Let's take a quick break.
I know a lot of you are preparing for the new year, new me thing. And I would say you don't have to plan on January 1st. You can plan on March 5th. You can plan whenever you like. And that's where this sponsor comes in. 5 years ago, I got introduced to bullet journaling, or I was interested in learning about bullet journaling. Ryder Carroll created a planning method where you're in control of how you plan. And with the bullet journal, it's a simple format or a simple flow. You have a book, it is a dotted grid notebook, and you can plan or write out however you would like to do your planning. I have found and have accepted that I am a rapid log planner, meaning that I pretty much write out my plan, whatever the day is and the date, and then the things that I'm doing on that day. And did I do them or did I not do them? And I found that to work for quite some time. I did get a little fancy at one time and really get in depth with planning, but over time, I eventually went to what's today's date? What am I doing today? Or what have I done today? I usually use it in a simpler manner of once I've completed things for my day that I know I need to do, then I use it accordingly, connecting it to my digital calendar, aka Google Calendar. If you're interested in joining the Bullet Journal or Bujo community, have a 10% promo code for their notebook. They'll usually bring out a new color each year. This year I went with the yellow slash, I guess you can call it the bumblebee look to some degree. Normally, anytime I get one of their bullet journal notebooks, I'm always getting the black or the blue or something that's a dark color. So this year to go with something a little brighter was different, but bullet journaling changed the landscape for me planning and preparing. And the best part about it is you can create your planning to your style and to what works for you. Again, I've done this for nearly, if not 5 years, and it hasn't been broken, so I haven't had to fix anything with using it. So check them out, bulletjournal.com. Use my promo code Brian Bujo, get 10% off.
And someone mentioned this before, and it's a true statement if you really break it down and think about it. If you woke up and your account, it wasn't anything accidental, there was a inheritance passed along to you, but the inheritance was for a very substantial amount, as in close to, if not $1 billion. If you aren't thinking like a person who is pretty much a millionaire, soon to become a billionaire, if you know what to do with the money, then you're going to spend or you're going to utilize the money like you would based on what your account looks like before you got the money. And I say that because for a lot of people, myself being one of them, when that stimulus hit in 2020 or in that time frame, there wasn't much you could tell me that I won't go budge and I do. Like to this day, all jokes aside, I still got my Sony wireless headphones. And those were like in so many words and in fair honesty, those were a huge incentive to push my skill set and talents with podcasting because I had effort towards podcasting, don't get me wrong, but my effort towards it was not the greatest. I'll keep it a band. Um, However, now I think with newer equipment, that's all changed. But back to the 2020 versus 2025, I think more people are more aware if you're going to start an LLC, get financial help, of course, but don't be pulled in by trying to potentially run a scam, gaining the infamous PPP loan. If a PPP loan pops up again, people should look at the folks who were hit with like fraud charges during that time, like either during that time or years later because of what happened. Like the hardest part to get people to think about is if you gonna get caught, you gonna get caught. Because the first thing most folks will say is, "Well, why didn't they catch them like right when it happened?" And I'm like, you got to think about it. Like anything, you got to build a case, and a lot of cases had to be built before they could just up and send people off or whatever. And I'm just making mention of that because, like I said, we're in a new year, new regime getting ready to start with a new, an old president. Uh, a lot of people's concerns are very high. But, like even I was talking to a friend about it yesterday. We're having our battle with the whole water drought thing. And a lot of people, in some weird, meticulous, backwards way, will say, well, see, well, this is all because of our soon to be president elect. And I'm like, no, he has nothing to do with what is going on and what has been going on in his city. He's not been in it's like if he steps foot in this city or in this state, it's been forever and a day ago. Because in so many words, we're not his target audience. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's also the acknowledgement of being intentional with realizing that. So that's why I said earlier, whether you want to or not, wake up. Let me be the first to come clean. I don't care who I offend with saying what I'm about to say. This is not a woke movement. This is not like be on your be on your Zoom. It's nothing extracurricular. It's just be alert if you aren't already alert. And to add insult to injury, I want you all to really not talk about planning, but actually plan. And the main reason I'm sharing or addressing that with everyone is because there are going to be a lot of, for lack of a better term, and that was a quick 20 minutes. There are going to be a lot of trick 'em ups and loopholes that are gonna pop up, whether you ask them to pop up or not. And for a lot of people, a lot of folks will be ready. A lot of folks will be a-okay, just fine, peachy, honky dory, whatever. Some people, it's gonna be a huge wake up call. It'll be a definite wake up call and adversity, to say the least. Aha moment. You will definitely be put in a position to see what you didn't expect to see. Um, Finding your way to do what you need to do to get what you need to get done will be very, very pivotal, whether you realize it or not. And I don't think people know, see, or understand the magnitude of that now, but over time, trust me, they're going to see it. Um, it's funny to be at this age and at this stage of my life, and the amount of times I would hear this phrase versus being a part of the phrase, or being a developer and using it, it really has like a different context. You are a product of your environment. Non-developers know the generic meaning, but developers see that term on a whole different landscape. So there's that. Uh, Also, and my friend gave me some good feedback, and I want everyone who's listening to consider this. You will be noticing, if you haven't already, that the intros and the outros and the mid rolls, well, the intros and the outros have changed for the podcast, which I'm glad I did do that and get those submitted and brought up to speed. But also, I'm testing out mid rolls for the podcast for the sake of um, affiliate marketing, branding, and also just outright presenting a product to people, because a lot of people know about different things, but unless it's something you've really been into from the jump, it's going to be a whole new territory for a lot of people. Case in point, um, the bullet journal has been out over 10 years, but a lot of people don't even know that that level or that type of planning exists. So I've been doing a better job of trying to promote that product as a whole, as well as getting people on board with the brick accessory. And also, I think my third one wasn't the Ono, it was um, Bagby. I'm a huge lover and fan of the Bagby brand. I think I could literally speak, for lack of a better term, endless praises and appreciation of what Bagby does or has done for me as a consumer of their products. Believe it or not, using their product has been like a big help. And I know the ad is going to come on and talk about it that I've uploaded. But I also wanted to share and address it during this walk. Which, by the way, and I'm saying this openly and honestly, anyone that takes time to listen to these shows, especially my walkcast, I appreciate y'all because I'm not I'm not big on not having structure, but on the same token, doing these type of podcasts forces you to be very unstructured, but very considerate of who's listening and what message you're trying to get across. Um, and I didn't say this already. Value your body, please, with emphasis and exclamation. Value your body, and on top of that, value your mind. 'Cause, like, there are two things that can battle you when you are unsure of how the battle is going to go. I've probably been doing these walks for over a year, if not longer, give or take a year and a half. But I can openly say my body, if nothing else, appreciates these walks happening in real time. I'm double checking my audio check because it'll be just my luck. I go through this whole walk and I'm sitting here like talking, and I got about 20, 25 minutes in and no audio. Uh, Also, one of my friends gave, same friend that I talked to about the affiliate marketing. Um, I asked for him. I asked him for feedback from one of my recent recordings, and it's good that the work the work is being noticed. And I'm not saying that it's never noticed, because something that I've seen lately is people may not directly say to you, "Oh, great job on that podcast," or "Oh, you really said something deep in that episode." Because most people are too, I don't want to say in their own way, but most people are too, like, life has them very active. So life has them to the point where they're not gonna listen to something when you look at it as, "Oh, this is a good source of information, and I think you should hear it," and blah. No, people have lives, people have schedules. Um, I've accepted, as harsh as it is to say, that if someone says, "Oh, I'm gonna do that this evening," or "I'm gonna do that later on," you don't know if they did it. You will know. Like, you don't even need to follow up with them on it. Um, People appreciate the follow up. Don't get me wrong, but the ones who really trying to do it, they're gonna do it. They're gonna they'll slot the time they choose to slot. Like, I don't I don't care what anybody says. And I'm, like I said, my primary theme for 2025 still exists. The year of unplugging. If a person needs to really unplug and really needs to let tech go, they're gonna let it go. And I've been it's such a conflicting space to be in doing that, especially as someone who is, of course, in IT. Being in IT and not using phones, or not using the, as I call it, on the Mac, on the iOS side or the OS side, the big three, couldn't say the big four. Um, it can be very hard. It can be very, very difficult, because many times, and I saw a video I shared with a couple people yesterday where it's it's the hardest thing to do the easiest thing that's available, and that's removing distractions. Distractions can literally deter us, whether it's and it's let me slow this down a little bit because I know I talk about this all the time. And most people are like, God, you will talk about this again. And I'm like, yeah, because especially this year, I don't think anyone realizes the magnitude of the impact that not necessarily the phone, but what's added on the phone has on your life, on your daily. Um, you should not encounter anything that's adding stress. Like when people think this is gonna sound weird, but it's also the truth if you really break it down. Text messages do not draw stress. It's the person who sends the message and or your response or reaction to the message being sent. This is not like a sermon or a being woke or trying to drill something home. But just hear me out. Let me cook. Good. um, if you receive a phone call, and I've said this plenty of times to people, but the younger generation, they don't understand this, but my people, I'd say my millennials and my Gen Xers know a a phone call, aka a missed call, equals you being paged. You got paged, and you can either acknowledge that you were paged and respond to the page, or you can ignore it and go on about your everyday. Every call within reason is not required to get a response. If the person really had anything that they had to talk to you about, they'll leave a voicemail. If it was just a hey, I'm just calling to check in.
Let's take a quick break.
For over a year, I found an accessory that has become one of my most valuable tools to use for unplugging and disconnecting. My theme for 2025 is the year of unplugging. The resource that I found to connect with this is called Brick. Their website is getbrick.app. If you look in the show notes, you will see a link where I have a promo or an affiliate link for them. I don't want to give the actual promo code only because it is subject to change. But if you click on the link, it will be updated according to what the current affiliate link is. If you want to use that link, save 10%. It will be a very helpful tool. What exactly is Brick? I'm glad you asked. It allows you to take your screen time disconnect to another level for any of my iOS users. As far as I'm aware, the developer is working to get the company who makes the Brick accessory. They are looking to make this available for Android as well. But for my iOS, predominantly my iPhone users, this will help you curve your phone usage to a whole new level. The process is simple. You get the accessory. When you install the application, as soon as you install it, they're going to ask you which apps do you want to remove or not have access to. You select those apps. They give you a gray little box that has Brick written on it. Once you have that, you will then, it's a button right on the app that says Brick Phone. Once you select that, it will automatically walk you through the steps. It'll say tap here to brick the phone, and any of the applications that are not being offered or chosen will be disconnected. The latest update for this product is why I love it more than anything else. They have now set it up so that if you use any browser, it does not matter if it's Safari, Firefox, Arc, any of those browsers, you'll be able to open the browser. But if you try to open any of the apps that you have bricked or not to be used, you won't be able to use them. That has taken my screen time to a whole different level. Before Brick, I was usually on my phone 8-9 hours a day. Lately, I've been able to break my phone for less than, keeping it under almost 4 to 6 hours a day. And the average person uses their phone for quite a while if you really think about it. So check this out. The website is getbrick.app. There is a promo code. If you go in the show notes, you will see it. I also want to be clear, the show notes will show on any of the actual podcast recordings. So if you see episode and you see a number, you'll see the promo codes there. Any of my walkcasts usually will not have this code, but the link will be in any of my actual recorded casts that I'm sitting in front of the mic like I'm doing now. Thank you all for supporting, and we'll get back to the show.
Okay. I'll get to it when I get to it. Those are the extent of what we should be doing on our devices. However, and this is fresh. I remember literally being away from home, and a friend of mine, her youngest, making a reference like, and I think also her oldest, both like, do you have any phone on your tablet? And I'm like, yes, but it's not a toy. Like, I didn't buy a $1,200 toy. I bought a for 11. I think I would, whatever the amount of the iPad Pro was when I bought it. I didn't buy it as a toy. I bought it as a tool and a resource. Like, there's a reason why I have Procreate, Gmail, Google Calendar, um, the apps that I have for immediate access at the bottom. Same with your phone. What you have as your main 4 apps at the bottom are really the main things you should be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. All the other stuff, those are like personal choices. If you opt, like I made a bold decision a couple of days ago, like Candy Crush, Candy Crush Soda, Saga, whatever, like a bunch of those apps, I literally went through one day and just took them all out. And I was like, I don't I don't need them as much as I act as if I need them. Like certain apps I'm gonna use, like YouTube, I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna fool myself. Threads I'm gonna use. X I'm gonna use. But Twitter I'm gonna use. Reddit, I'm gonna use it. Like certain apps are resourceful for what they need to be resourceful for. But when you're using an application that is deterring you from getting something accomplished, now we're in a different type of water, a different type of state. And I couldn't tell you the last time I've been there, but there's this thing called the flow state. And it's talked about in Defocus, even though I've read the book. I've been listening to Cal Newport's podcast for years. And it's a real thing when you reach that mental milestone of deep focus or deep work. Like when you're deep into doing something, you don't care about nothing else. You 100% do not care about anything else but whatever it is that you're working on. And the flow state doesn't just happen when you're working. It can happen in like a plethora of ways and activities. So one go-to is with playing basketball. Playing basketball, I say I'll say it like this: any sport you can reach the flow state. So, for instance, if you are a um, if you're a quarterback, some quarterbacks when they're in the pocket, the the field looks very small. And when I say very small, I mean they can see the wide receivers going where they're going. They can see the defender a little bit, but they're kind of limited on what their ability is with how and who they're trying to get the ball to. When you're in a flow state, you see the whole field, and you can either see it as I can, I can put this tuck this joint in my arm and run, or if that wide receiver has enough stamina to do so, he can run this route. His defender is playing up too close, and I can go ahead and hit him for the touchdown. Same with basketball. Steph Curry shoots the way he does because of flow state. And I don't think people realize that. Like, what I would do to sit in a room and just have, I don't even need a 10 minute, I just need a 5 minute conversation with Steph. I'd say 2 minutes because that part alone, I would literally have that written down, like in all caps, flow state. Like, when you play basketball, do you feel like you play in a flow state? And I can put any amount of money that he likely does. And I could be 100% wrong, but when you see him shoot the ball the way he does, even at this point in his career, he doesn't ever put himself in the mindset of, I'm not making this shot. And the toughest part about it is, as people who don't play basketball at his level, but as people who are doing things like as minimal of an example as it is, these walks, this generates the flow state because getting up, going to walk, whether I do the walk cast thing or not, I'm literally putting myself in a state of, like, this morning, I got up. I want to say the phone said either 12 or 16 degrees. And anybody else would see that and they'd be like, nope, I ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right in the house. But in the meantime, as you all are listening to this, we're near or well past the 40-minute mark with all the pre and post stuff implemented. But I was able to knock out not only knock out a walk cast, but also knock out two uh, good walks, somewhat of a jog. But I had a bit of a faster pace on the second one, but nothing too extravagant. But based on how I walked, I was able to learn a new route that might be good to use in the future. We shall see. Um, but yeah, I know I'm circling back to this message, but it's sitting with me. And again, I'm not fond of, and will never be fond of the quote unquote awaken or woke community or whatever, how you want to term all that stuff. But what I will say is, if we ain't doing it now, open your eyes, man. Open your eyes, open your mind, open your heart. Like, stuff is going on. Like, things are happening in real freaking time. And I'm not sitting here saying that you gotta have like this robust, drawn out plan of what you're trying to do, but you gotta do something. And there's a harsh reality that, and I'm even having to face this. There are some people that ain't gonna get why you doing what you're doing. And it's not your job to like bring them aboard, bring them up to speed, give them cliff notes, none of that. You work on what you got to work on. Like when you're in a group chat, and this is an honest statement. When you're in a group chat, you're not spending time trying to analyze a separate person's group chat. It's just not how you're wired. Plus, it wouldn't make sense. You're gonna focus on what you need to take care of in your group chat, aka get your house in order, and let the rest of the chips fall where they may. Ooh, oh, yeah, not to sit long. Oh my back, straighten out, straighten out, straighten out. That's my other final piece. So, well, two things. One, oh yes, wake up. Excuse my French, but wake the fuck up. Like, do not sit here and let things go by you because you're not paying attention or it didn't hit your radar or whatever the case may be. We are not in those days anymore. It's time for us to really pay attention to what's put right in front of us. That's part one. Part two, and most importantly, take time and breathe. And yes, I know during the walk, it seemed like I was having some breath battles, and it's a like the reality without being the reality is when you do this type of exercise, especially this early in the morning, and this is a proven fact. I like to get this done. What is it now? It's almost 6:30. I like doing this before 6, if not 6:30. The reason being is because if I can do this now and not do it later, because this happened before. Like I've come out and I'm like, oh, it's 7 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. I'm gonna come out here and walk. Walking at 7 o'clock and walking at 8 o'clock are treacherous. It is treacherous. But going back to the breathing part, the earlier part of the day, and it's cold, you can get a little chilly. Your breathing adjusts a little bit. Your breath work modifies a little bit. So between breathing in the nose, breathing out the mouth, there's an app that I found. I got back into using it yesterday. It introduces the 4-7-8 breathing method, which is 4 seconds in through your nose, hold for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds, and you repeat that 4 times. Um, One thing that I can definitely say with training and with working out and with taking care of my body is since doing it more often in the middle of the training. And I think just like I said, having a friend be your trainer, but also still being your trainer first helps in so many ways. Because he'll look at me and tell like I'm cooked, but I'm good, but I need like a reset. And I won't say it, but I'll be standing there and he'll be like, "All right, let's breathe, let's get some breathing in through your nose." And I have to like actually breathe, hold it for a little bit, and then let it go. Um, wow. Breathing sometimes reminds us to let things go.
Let's take a quick break.
Never in a million years would I believe that a tool or a resource like Bagby would be the go-to. So I'm gonna give a backstory, and this will tie it in together of why I'm such a big talker of the Bagby brand. 2018, found this company called Bagby. They're a self independent business, and they were selling these bags that you pretty much can put your phone in, and it modified the process of using the phone. Over the last year or so, recently used another accessory that ironically is in my bag called Brick that I talk about in one of my other promos. However, I'm sharing this here because I don't know about any of you. Sometimes you just need something to sit your device in and to just not acknowledge that you have the device. And that's where Bagby comes in. The Bagby brand has multiple items and multiple accessories that are useful in your day-to-day life when it comes to just finding that opportunity to unplug and to reset. And it seems so simple that it's too simple. All it is, their latest version, the bag looks similar to a sleeve. It's almost like an envelope that sits on the back of your door. You place your phone inside the accessory. It has a little loop on the side. You can put your phone cable inside that loop. And then once you have that set up, you can charge your phone while it's in the actual Bagby accessory. This has helped in so many ways with me reducing my screen time and not being on my phone as much. It's also helped with, I'm a big believer of, if you do not have to, do not charge your phone where you sleep. Many people use their phones as an alarm. I have no knock against that. However, and I have a friend of mine who can attest to this, one product that Bagby sells, they don't just sell bags, they also sell alarm clocks. It's time to go back to what works. Get a physical alarm clock and you will see different results in waking up. The alarm clocks do have the snooze feature if you need that. I've used their alarm clock for quite some time. It works just fine the way I need it. And I will tell anyone it's better to use a alarm clock compared to using accessories that are supposed to work as time users or time items. For instance, and I'm giving you all this as a real example on this mid-roll. If you don't have internet in your home for a period of time, or your electricity, whatever goes out, are you relying on an alarm clock to wake you up? Are you relying on a phone that may not be fully charged to wake you up? Or even worse, are you relying on a smart device that will not receive connectivity due to it not knowing what time it is because you don't have that feature? Go old school, get an alarm clock. And then as far as your phone, place your phone in another area, place it in the bag, let the phone charge as necessary, out of sight, out of mind. I've shared this too, and I'm going to leave this be. These are going to be the tools that will help to get kids in the space to learn how to disconnect as well. Because they also have accessories that you can put your phone, your tablet, any other devices that are just distractions in your day-to-day, as well as blue screen, blue light blocking glasses, all can be used within this realm and within this company. I have a link in the description. Use my promo code, save yourself a few bucks. You might like what you get.
I don't know where that came from. It's not a quote that's going to be found online. If you want to use a text editor or any application and write that, you can. I may use it myself. But breathing reminds us to let things go. And sometimes we're so engulfed by so many things that we haven't given ourselves an opportunity to let things go. Might get a little layered and a little treacherous what I'm gonna get ready to say, but I'm gonna say it. Breathing also reminds us to let people go. Um, there are quite a few times in life and in our day to day that we're intended to make adjustments and modifications. And the truth is, we are not internally or mentally ready to make those changes. But the best part is, we got to make those changes. Because by making those changes, we're allowing opportunities to come up, to come about. And been on the fence with wanting to do this. I talked about it earlier, but I'm going to use this platform as an announcement. And this will be really pushed in my podcast flow, possibly in my newsletter flow, and just different spaces. I'm gonna call it, because I've been wanting to put my name behind it. I think I had another term or name that I was gonna use and I didn't use it. And I thought about other reasons not to use it. But the title that I'm sitting with, or the thought that's coming to me, is Black Men Who Bujo. Um, Black men have been. Let me give me a second, because I knew this was gonna happen. I don't know why he just didn't make a U earlier, but you gotta do it again. There you go. I think you figured out last minute you want to make a U turn, but I digress. Um, the name that I can't, and it's funny, that happened like right as I was about to announce this, and I'm like, all right, you know what? Let it be, breathe. Let and that's the other book I also want to read. I got from Mel Robbins. Let Them. I have the Kindle version of it. I was gonna get the physical, but I think I just wanted to get the book and get to it. But Black Men Who Bujo. Um, the bullet journaling community has been skyrocketing for years. The one thing that I have noticed, and I am probably gonna sound crazy saying it, I have not seen anyone bullet journaling who is black. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying that black people do not bullet journal, because obviously I'm one of them. However, I have learned over the years, whenever I talk about bullet journaling to a lot of people, they're very intimidated by it because it's made very complex and very complicated online. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you, like I said, I could open the Pinterest app right now, which I need to open mine soon, because I was supposed to start on my execution board on there, but that's another conversation for another day. But you can open Pinterest, type in bullet journal, and see the different types of spreads that people make, and see people buying washi tape and getting all these pens and buying all these markers. And you can go insane with creating a bullet journal. But here's the problem, and I'm probably exposing this early in content that I want to share. Um, because I could say Black Men Bujo, I could say Bujo while black. Um, I've thought about a few names, but I think Black Men Who Bujo, or Black Men Bujo, will probably be the best name. Um, Everything that everyone does online looks very phenomenal. But if you're putting more time into the creative side of bullet journaling, but not actually using bullet journaling for what it is, then you're doing it wrong. Like, there are people who, I mean, I'm telling you, it's what, today is the 8th. I can guarantee you people are already talking about February spreads online, like how to make all the little hearts and do the cursive writing. And again, I'm a writer. I love cursive handwriting, but even that level, like, I don't even like doing, like, I personally wanted to try to learn that type of scripting or writing, and I'm like, I'm good. I'd rather just stick with my OG pen and paper, my little lines of pages, and journal that way. um it's random now, but I'm kind of beginning to see that journal that I have, I want to try to churn and burn with this one and write out a lot more. But when it finishes, I'm really thinking of being a little unorthodox and journaling in a bullet journal. Like, I have a iteration of a bullet journal that I would like to use as a journal to write in, but I also want to use it as a, if it's like a certain day, I'm like, I just want to doodle in it or something, or I want to write some thoughts down. Because at the end of the day, bullet journaling, planning, tasking, brain dumping, uh, m- mind mapping, all of that stuff is the same. All of it just works to how your brain functions. And I, my honest to goodness truth, and it's so crazy when I think about this last year. And I think I shared this on a podcast. I don't remember. Like I still have the planner from when I got it last year. Um, I had gotten the year the glance planner. I had gotten another planner. For years, I had been getting different types of physical planners and using them, and I'm like, "Oh, this is cool. I like it. It's working. I'm rolling with it. It's great." The big boys I never jumped into because I just didn't think they were making planners for myself. The end for me personally, and I'm not gonna say for men because there are men-based planners out there that are good planners to use. Um, but like the Happy Planner, Passion Planner. There's a third. There's a couple other big companies who do planners. None of those are my jam. I want to say it was 2018, 2019. Heard about bullet journaling, thought about it, was unsure if I wanted to do it. Took a plunge. Still to this day, I wish I could find my first two bullet journals because those were like, oh my gosh, like where I was with bullet journaling then versus where I'm at with it now is insane. But 2020, late great Kobe Bryant passed, day one of bullet journaling. Um, 2021, Jonas passed away. That was year two of bullet journaling. And I haven't looked back since. Um, my 2022 bullet journal was pretty chill. 2022 was like an eye opener for a lot of reasons because with becoming full time, with starting my health journey or restarting my health journey, it was a lot of things that I had not really been factoring in or looking at. But then I was like, all right, I need to really get like rev it up a little bit. Um, but yeah, so bullet journaling has become a staple of mine by far. This year, probably one of the few times that I'm doing I think my second year I did like a teal, like a light blue, like a teal blue um, bullet journal because that was like their early models. And then they kind of went with like the minimal style or minimal look on the cover. And this year is my first yellow bullet journal. So next year I will probably, if I know me, I will likely be getting the green bullet journal. And looking forward to that. I think one year, if I remember right, one year I used blue. Like, well, I know one year I had my first year was the black the Chelsea blue. Second year was the teal green. Third year was I think I had the black model. I either had the blue or the black model of the bullet journal. I think and I'm tempted to say my third year might have been the blue one. I don't remember. I mean, I have it nearby. I just can't think of it right offhand. Um, Last year was year four. That was the Edition X, which I thought was probably one of their best ones they made. And then this year I went with yellow. So yeah, but yeah, Black Men Who Bujo, keep an eye out for that. Gonna see if I can get a little creative. I think don't know what I do know. I got this. I got some creative juices to push some thoughts to get going. And I think it'll be a Good little mix, good little setup. But yeah, keep an eye out for Black Men Who Bujo. Keep an eye out for more content as always. Keep those who are worthwhile in your Cirque du Soleil, aka a circle. And those who you know are moving, move them where they either move them where they belong, allow life to move them accordingly. Um, I think everyone's heard this message from me in some way, shape, or form. VIP is gonna move. Everybody can't. You can't have VIP overcrowded. It's gonna hurt, but I'm gonna say it. VIP ain't heaven. I'll leave it at that. If you ever go to any club, VIP ain't heaven. And when I say VIP ain't heaven, I can say that for a plethora of reasons. One, the obvious, VIP ain't gonna have that many people in it. Two, VIP can get a little congested if it's a little amount of people and get a little tension based on the few that's in there. So that's what I got for y'all today. I think I might have almost hit an hour. Yep, almost there. All right. Letting y'all go. I'm going to this house. It's cold. I'm tired. Not really. I got more stuff to do because it's our last day home, but realistically in office. But yeah, we back again with the Zoom, man. Catch y'all on the flip. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode. These podcasts are uploaded to Buzzsprout. If you'd like to get into using Buzzsprout, let me know. You can reach out to me at thepastbtpod@gmail.com. Also, the mic, I know I had it there where I was using the Blue Yeti X. I used it for about 3 or 4 months. And since then, the audio has bumped up a little. We're now using the Rode mic. So I'm part of the Rode family. Also using the Vocaster 2 to connect to the Rode mic. So that has become my new combination. These podcasts are available on all platforms: Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Pandora, you name it, it's on that platform. And finally, I want to share this because I did not have an opportunity to share this last season. If you would like to give any feedback or have any thoughts to share, on this episode, you will see a link at the top that says send a message. I do check those messages and I will be reading those if they do come up during or after the show. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you on the next one.